Good morning, Leafs fans, although I'm not sure good comes into the word today. Game 1, round 1, Leafs lose 7-3 to the Tampa Bay Lightning, and there's a lot to unpack, so let's just jump in. Hello everybody, I'm Victoria and I talk about all things NHL related from across the pond in Scotland, and here I am with Stanley Cup analysis, Leafs, Game 1, Round 1, so much pain. For context, went to bed at 3:30am after watching this game, and I thought I would do a little quick my thoughts on it. So, here we go. So the Leafs are off to a bad start. The players on the ice for the first, couple of minutes were very, very questionable, and they gave up a goal in that time. Where was Austin Matthews? Where was Nylander? Where was Mitch? Why? You're not exactly capitalising on the fact you have home ice to start. Anyway, Tampa score straight off the bat. Now, the Leafs just did not help themselves here, and there were so many factors into this loss, but ultimately the Leafs just came out looking so weak when they haven't been like that all season. It literally made no sense. Meanwhile, Tampa, who actually are weaker given the injuries they have and given the season they've had, came out still pretty raring to go. So the roles should have been reversed, but they weren't. So first goal happens, Gio kind of makes a bit of a mistake, which I love Gio, but that was disappointing, and it comes off the rebound and in it goes past Samsonov. Now, Samsonov is one of the guys I'm blaming less in this game, and his post-game comment was just, it broke my heart, because at the end of the day there was just so little help for him, and even though there was one or two of those that he maybe should have had back, ultimately he was not one of the main causes of the problem in this game. Would I start him next game? I don't know. Part of me thinks you just give Wall the chance. Obviously Wall went in for the third, but the third wasn't the most challenging of periods, so I'm kind of in two minds about this, and I know that Sheldon Keefe said it was too early to tell whether there'd be a goalie change, which I get, because I don't know what I'd rather see either, to be honest. Do you give Samsonov another shot with the home ice, given that his home ice stats are far better than his away stats, or do you try and start fresh with Wall? I'm uncertain. Anyway, one of the main things of this game was the sheer amount of penalties. There definitely hasn't been a game all season, correct me if I'm wrong, but there hasn't been one where there's been that many penalties in the one game. I honestly don't think that has happened. It just felt like there was no 5-on-5 hockey in that entire game. There must have been... Does anyone know how many minutes there was of even strength hockey in that game? Because if so, comment down below. It can't have been much. Feel like I barely saw Austin Matthews apart from when he fell over himself, which, oh god, kind of just sums up the Leafs in that game, falling over themselves. They also managed to let in 2 goals within the last 3 seconds of the period in this game, so after the first it is 3-0 and they get booed off the ice, which, I mean, understandable. People have paid a lot of money to go to this game, I get it. Tough because you're a fan and you want to be supportive, obviously, but I understand you've invested a lot of time and money into going there and you have a right to have your say. So I know that's a controversial thing, people booing the team off the ice. I don't think it's something I would do, but I don't know. Anyway, you spend your money, you've got a right to have a voice, okay? The second period is off to a much better start. Ryan O'Reilly scores, and it just felt like there was a bit of a momentum shift, a whole energy shift. They were on the PK, but honestly, Mitch Marner on the PK was just amazing. Although it was one of the only times I actually saw him being really stand out during this game. I was a bit disappointed by him as well. Nylander scores, and honestly, Nylander, in my opinion, was the best player on the ice last night. I was really quite impressed with his performance. He was definitely the strongest consistently through the game, in my opinion. So then we've got a 1-goal game, and you could hear the difference in the building. You could feel the energy just changing completely. And I honestly thought there was hope. I thought they're going to come back from this, and it's going to be very exciting. Then, however, the turning point starts in the game. So the officiating, I know, was a big problem. There was a soft call on Cam. Before you know it, the score's 4-2. It's no longer a 1-goal game. Then you've got the Michael Bunting issue. Now, this has been growing all season, and Michael Bunting has... Obviously, there's been discussions around this season long. This isn't something that came out of the blue. The refs don't like him. He doesn't do anything to help the refs like him. And I know there was officiating problems last night, and I'm not trying to detract from that. However, Michael Bunting was rarely going to draw penalties, and he actually did draw one last night, which I was really surprised to see. However, I'm never going to defend someone doing an illegal check to the head like that. I just don't appreciate seeing that from anybody. And at the end of the day, if someone did that to a Leafs player, everybody would be absolutely fuming. I mean, there was just no... I didn't see anyone really disregarding it, but there was absolutely no discussion. That was an illegal check to the head, and it was worth the 5 minutes. However, in my opinion, that match penalty was truly the death of the game. Like, any remaining spark of hope in that moment, I was like, I think Bunting's just killed it, to be honest. And I'm not putting the whole blame on him, because there were so many factors involved, but that 5 minute was part of the problem. 5 minutes is a long, long time. And then from there, it just seemed to deteriorate further. There was obviously the goal that... Did it cross the line? I'm still unsure. I still don't know if you can fully see. It definitely was most of the way there. Did it fully cross? I honestly... I don't know. I don't know. But at the end of the day, even that one goal, like, if the Leafs were going to continue the way they were, it wasn't going to change the overall score. But I'm not sure about that one. And then, of course, like, the coach's challenge on it, I don't know if that was the wisest choice, because were you really going to be given it? Like, probably not. And all you did was give Tampa a 5-on-3, which you don't give Tampa a 5-on-3, come on. End of the second, it's 6-2, and everything just feels very depleted. The third period there was less happened in it, but it was just lackluster. The third period really lacked any kind of entertainment. There was fans piling out of the building, which, again, you know, you pay all that money, you deserve better for that money, especially like home ice advantage game 1. You definitely deserved better than what the Leafs put on last night. And Toronto traffic is busy. I'm always conscious to see things from other people's perspective, because to me, obviously, being so far away, whenever I get to a Leafs game, I'm going to enjoy every minute. The game I went to, they lost in overtime, and honestly, I was still so happy you probably wouldn't have known they'd lost, because I was just so excited to be there. But I do understand that it was a lot of money to pay. It was very disappointing, and if people want to leave, they want to leave. Like, I'm not going to judge someone for doing that. So it finishes 7-3. Jan Krok scores, which, again, like, he's a good player. Like, I like Jan Krok, but I mean, 7-3, right? Like, there's not really any difference between 7-2 or 7-3. So that was that. That was the game. No, I really thought it was going to be a tight game. I honestly thought it might go to overtime or something this game. I was picturing like a 2-1 finish or a 3-2, because good goaltending, two solid teams that I honestly thought it would be like one would score, the other would score. That's the way I thought it would go. I didn't necessarily like assume the Leafs would win this one. That wasn't my assumption, but I thought it would be a much closer and more entertaining game for sure. And just looking at the stats, Leafs got outshot 34-31, but I mean, it's still close. The Leafs were winning more face-offs. The amount of power plays was ridiculous. You know, 8 power plays for Tampa, 4 for the Leafs. That is a that to me just isn't really the way that I would like to see playoff hockey officiated. I'd much rather it flowed when it's soft calls. I don't mean anything serious, obviously. Oh, I don't know. Like, it's oddly even. Like, you know, Leafs actually threw more hits. The takeaways were the same. The Leafs had more giveaways. Like, I know that Tampa outshot them, but it really wasn't by that much. But it wasn't, the stats don't really accurately show what went on in this game, in my opinion. And then the post-game comments. So Keith said, that's the nature of a playoff series, it's on us to respond. Yes, but you have to, that's the thing. We've been here so many times before, and I don't think fans are going to take that on board very well. Austin came out and said that I think most of the penalties that were called were penalties, which I'm not quite sure most people would agree with that. And then O'Reilly said that he wasn't worried. Well, I, sir, am worried, and I'm not the one playing. My battery is about to die, and I have a million things to do today. So that is all for today's video. Comment down below what you thought of the game. I know it's very disappointing, but I think we bounce back for game 2. I'm confident in Thursday's game, and I'm still very excited and I'm very optimistic. However, that game was disappointing. We can still do this. Leafs in 6, as I said. Leafs in 6. Thank you so much for watching. See you again for game 2. And I'll be back soon with more hockey chats from across the pond. Bye, guys.